Hey, I'm Lee Hurley hosting Muse News today, and I'm very excited to announce our special guest this week. From one of my personal favorite bands, we've got Michael, Arnold, and Owen Finn from Dogfish. Hey, guys.
Hey, Lee. How's it going?
What's up, Lee?
It's good. I'm very happy to have you on the podcast because you guys are releasing your first full-length album, Cassette Ape,
Yes.
on June 1st, which is really exciting. How are we feeling about that?
We are super pumped. It's been a long time coming. We've put out a couple projects thus far, but it feels like this album is something we've been talking about for like years. We're like, yeah, we're just going to make an album and get it out, but it's been a long time coming. It's been recording it for like close to like 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really good to get that out and have people hear it.
We're definitely all pumped to get it out. Like, I think it's also such a like production-wise step up from like our last couple things, because it's all been recorded in the same house, but it just gets like progressively better because like we finally brought in a friend to record it. Shout out Nick Hunt for that one. But yeah, so pumped to have it out.
That's awesome. Very excited for everyone else to hear it.
Yeah.
I have listened to it a couple times so far, and it's fantastic stuff.
Thank you very
Awesome,
much.
thank
you,
thank you.
How did you get your hands on that? All right, anyways.
It's my super secret journalistic intel. Yeah. No one has to. I won't leak it. I promise. I promise. So, do you guys want to give me like a little crash course, like Dogfish history? Like, because I know there's a couple people who kind of joined later who weren't always in the band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it started out with me and definitely the first 4 people who were in it were me, Mike Shallow, and Tyler Harrott. We played a first show in my basement, and then pretty quickly like Rob Piercy joined, and then later on Thomas joined. But like throughout the whole process, they were always kind of like, Thomas was always kind of around, and like he's even on the first project. That's even right. Though like I don't think he was technically part of the band. He was in for a jam one time and we like sampled it on a song, so that was kind of fun. So then after that we released Dogfish, and I think that was mostly like, I think all 5 of us or all 6 of us did technically play on that.
Yeah. It was Thomas like only with the one song, but all of us like had a part in like recording that, I think equally. Yeah, or not equally, but like as much as it was going forward.
Yeah, and then the second one, Shirts Versus, definitely. I don't know if Thomas appeared on that necessarily.
It was hard with him back and forth from Grenfell.
Yeah, he was in Corner Brook at the time.
So it was like whenever Thomas was home, it'd be like we gotta record something for a weekend. But yeah, I don't know if he was in on the full thing of that.
Yeah, so that's kind of why this, I guess, project feels so complete, because it's like it's finally like
got
an
everybody
album.
on every track.
Everyone's on it.
Yeah.
Everyone's on different tracks and stuff, and it's like such a weird mix this time of like more than ever, like the genres I feel like are really kind of, it's similar throughout, but definitely a lot of blends of different stuff.
For sure. So you guys kind of call yourself like slacker rock, is that right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that
loosely. Do we want to expand on that a little bit? Because sometimes the genres get a bit muddled for people.
Slacker rock is something that I don't know. I was not familiar with the term before I heard it used with us. I think that you, Owen, like put that label on us.
So it was coined by Barely There Media when they threw us up on Instagram. Like we released the EP and they were like, this is slacker rock, Dogfish. I think like they also saw us at the basement show and they were like, these guys do not know what they're doing. But
Assigned slacker rock by Barely There. Loved it.
Yeah, and it was awesome. We were like, yeah, this is perfect. Like there's always someone who doesn't really know what's going on, so it's totally slacker. We'll take it.
Because when someone like who's a really good musician looks at it, they might think that we know what we want to do, but we purposely sound like that.
I had a Dogfish song on in the car the other day. My dad said the exact same thing. He was like, are they supposed to sound like that? And I was like, yes. Yes, it's supposed to sound like that, Dad. I swear.
So they let us run with that label, because now we have something to hide behind. It's like we're just slacking a bit too much on this one,
Yeah, we just
Guys,
don't
it's
care.
It's supposed to sound like that, I swear.
It's
supposed to.
And even though like we took that label, it's definitely not been like a shield all the time, because when we play like a really bad show, and we have before, like every band has, we still feel it a little bit. Like the good shows were like, yeah, we got through every song. The bad shows were like, we got through like 1 or 2 successfully. So
like at second stage when that guy was like, they were so much better than the last time I saw them.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but like, sure, yeah, nice.
Yeah, he doubled down on it too when he saw Michael Shallow walking. He was like driving in his car because he said that from the audience. And then he was driving in his
Very
car
loudly,
after.
mind you.
Yeah, and we all heard it. And then he was driving after, and Michael Shallow was on the street. And he opened his window to say, like, dude, that was way better than last time. Yeah. And Mike was like, just keep driving, man.
Dude,
like, I don't.
That's awesome, though. Shout out that guy.
Yeah.
I wish we got to know which show was before that, because it could have been a lot of them. Like, I don't know. There was a lot of stinkers.
Yeah, there was a couple. There was a run of like, no, actually maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably a bit too hard on ourselves. We shouldn't say that. We're always having fun.
You're always crowd pleasers, for sure. Like, every time there's Dogfish on a bill, like, all my friends are like, going to the Dogfish show, Dogfish show. Like, I feel like people just, like, love the energy and the vibe that you guys bring. So they're excited to see.
Yeah, I feel like that is something we really strive for. It's just, like, a good vibes more than anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Really, because, like, you can super tell if a band is not having very much fun. But I think if there's even one person on stage having a lot of fun, it can be infectious for everyone else. Yeah. And so we really just
Definitely.
like strive for that, which is a lot of fun.
Would you guys want to talk a little bit about like your own personal musical backgrounds? Like, how did you get into like writing music and stuff like that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You go.
Okay. So I was like always trying to start bands. This is Owen talking for the radio people. I was always trying to start bands like with my buddies Thomas and Mike Shallow. Like we go back to like high school. We were jamming a little bit with a friend named.
You were like former band kid or something like that.
Well, no, never a band kid. I did play in like a high school band, but I couldn't read sheet music. So like
it's hard. It's really hard.
I never could like pick that up. I was always. This is kind of an off-topic thing, but one time in band, because they didn't have a bass player, they needed one, so I stepped in, and there was one part where I actually learned the sheet music, and the band teacher like heard me play. He was like, yes man, like good job. And then one person in the sax line was like, yeah, like go, and he started clapping, and no one else started clapping, and it was like very awkward and pretty funny.
No.
But I still think about it, it was pretty funny. But so over COVID, I started like just had the opportunity to get like an interface and just released a bunch of music under my name on Spotify.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yeah. Owen Finn on Spotify, if you want to go check that out. Haven't released anything in put out an album last year.
Yeah.
But so like did that and then played a couple live shows, and that was a lot of fun and stuff, and then just like started playing in a bunch of different bands, Steel Toe, Defib, Dogfish, like all these different projects kind of came together. But Dogfish felt like pretty special because it was very much like the band that I always wanted to be in high school, which is kind of funny. I think James Benoit coined that. They coined that.
They said, like, I get it now. It's the band everyone wanted to be in high school.
Yeah, so we were kind of happy.
I was happy about that. For sure.
Yeah, that's kind of my musical background, I guess.
Yeah. For me, I started playing guitar just like a bit before COVID hit. So I was I guess it was in like grade 10. And then I kind of was like stop and go with it. But then when like everything was in lockdown, I really picked it back up and started learning a lot of songs. And then just before like I moved out to St. John's, me and a couple of buddies from back home, we just started jamming like covers and stuff. And so
Greytown.
Yeah, well, something similar to that. And then when we came out here, I just wanted to be in a band because I've never could like writing songs is hard. And like I could never like you got to do drums and then bass and then vocals and everything. So I just wanted to find a group of people that like I could just like write my parts and have everyone else do their job.
Yeah.
And so
leave them to deal with all of that nonsense. Like
and
you
so
can just
it really fell into place with Dogfish, where like everyone, I don't know, it seemed like everyone was on the same page. Like it wasn't a band where like someone came together, was like, all right, I have 13 songs. Like, like everyone learned their parts. Like everything was like, I have this one puzzle piece, but we need to get everything else figured out. And then from there, it was a great opportunity to learn other instruments too. Like we all basically started, none of us played drums before the band, I don't think.
I feel like there's like 7 or 8 drummers in St. John's, and then they're just all in like 15 bands.
Yeah, exactly.
Drummers are like hard to find.
Yeah,
they are, especially like a good drummer. That's
why
we have 3 bad ones.
My buddy's dad told me, like, he's like always played in bands, and like I was like, man, I want to play in a band, but like no one plays drums. And he's like, you're gonna have to learn to play drums if you want to be in a band.
You're like, oh, I guess so.
But it was really cool. Everyone learning to play drums for the band, and like even Tyler, like he learned how to play bass like for the band. He didn't play any instruments before. Straight up,
like for the show. Like it was pretty crazy. I lent him my bass, and he like learned it so quick. Shout out to him. He's such a good bass player, man. He's such a good bass player.
He wrote like a lot of those early songs. Like he wrote like the framework for like a lot of the songs that we play live, and a few that are on the album, on the EPs and stuff.
That's true. He really did.
He was always just sitting at home playing like 4 notes, and he'd be like, "This one's awesome."
Yeah,
and then it'd be a song. Yeah,
yeah. That's something I always like love about bass. Like I originally started playing the bass, and then I worked on like my way to guitar, I guess. But when I did write songs with the bass, I just felt like they were cooler, and like they were way more interesting, and you don't get stuck in the kind of rigid like world of chords.
Yeah,
almost.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
same 4 chords every song.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Was it 1 4 5 2 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
So I know you guys both wrote like a pretty decent bit of what's on the new album, as well as Michael Shallow, of course. Shout out to him, he's not here. So when you try and like, when you're writing a song, what's kind of like the hallmark that you're like, oh, this is a Dogfish song, rather than like an Owen Finn song or a Jack Keane song or something like that?
Ooh, that's a great question. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. Well, the only songs, like most of the songs that I have written that people have heard are for Dogfish, but it's really weird when I like will record some music like just by myself. Like it doesn't sound anything like a Dogfish song, and so I'm not really sure like what like that like secret sauce is, or like
what's the secret Dogfish
song? Like
that's
that secret.
Mix a bottle and sell that.
Yeah. But like I think it's just like, I think it's like everyone's different backgrounds in like what they. I think if everyone wrote their own songs, none of them would really sound exactly like what the songs that we've all worked on would sound like. And so I think that like the mixture of all of that will make it sound more so like what our sound would be. I did air quotes for sound would be.
Yeah, I mean exactly that. I think like because there's so many songs that I have written and then like I will bring to the band, and like when I just play it, I'll be like, okay, this could be like Steel Toe or an Owen Finn song or something. But then if Mike plays it, he plays just like super like funky rhythmic guitar, and so that'll change the sound so quickly. Like on Walking Home, like when you play that, just your guitar part is so different from what I would play or how I would play it, and that shapes things like very differently, and just kind of I think that's the biggest thing. It's like if I'm writing for Owen Finn or for Big Diamond or Steel Toe or one of these bands, it's usually all the same flavor almost. Like it's what I know. But when I bring it to Dogfish or something, everyone's got their own way of playing something, or like Mike on the drums is very different from me on the drums, very different from Shallow on the drums. And so all those different things just like shape it into such a different spot that I think changes it more than anything is everyone's different flavor.
Yeah. I think that's like so visible with like Shallow's songs, because like I think like when he wrote a lot of these songs, he probably imagined like just a tambourine, like a harmonica behind it, and then we're like, we want to play rock, and then just made it super loud, which I think is like, again, like he brings like a country song almost, and then we just make
he's
it really
a pretty
hard.
like folky indie
very much
kind of guy,
that vibe. Well, all of his songs, like the first two especially with Smoke and 120s, he played them slow. He played them really slow, and so you hear that a bit on the intro of 120s, on the slow part of Smoke.
Yeah, we let him get a little bit.
Bit, but then I was like,
then you're like, okay, fast and loud now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly, right? And I think it was a good thing, but also I'm glad that Jack Eanes exists, so he has a spot to be like, slow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this a little bit, but like, how is the sound on Cassette Ape different, or like, I guess, evolved from like Dogfish or Shirts Versus?
Yeah, I'll talk about the as far as like the recording goes. Like, it just sounds better like than the rest of our stuff. Like the rest of our stuff is like, if you're watching a YouTube video and it's like, damn, like, why is this in like 144p? But like, I don't know, we're like touching like 720p now, like, you know. It's just, everything's a lot more clear. Like, we got our buddy Nick Hunt, shout out, to record for us. Like, we had more mics in that room than we've never ever seen before, you know. And it was really cool. Can we get in on that? We need we need more mics here. We'll maybe for the next album we'll have all 6 Dogfish members. You need to invite one of Nick's bands, and he'll bring. You can get all his mics. And then it's all like Owen does all like the mixing and stuff for the albums, and he's just gotten a lot better at it every time. And you can talk a bit more about that.
Yeah. So I also just want to mention about the mics. The reason why it's like especially such a big thing with the drums on this album is that initially, for the first 2 projects, we had one drum, and they were not drum mics or anything. It was just like a vocal mic on the ground, and I think another one, just someone would stand over top of the drum kit, and we would record like that. So some poor fool would get their ears blasted off by someone drumming, and also had to hold the mic over the kit the whole time. And so this time we were like, okay, Hunt, like, set us up and like do us right, man. And it sounds like $1 million in our opinion, I guess. It sounds really good. Yeah. Thank you. But welcome. It was on the production side, like, that was a big thing, because I was like, oh, I can get different ranges out of the cymbals now, and they don't just sound like someone chewing gravel or something. And that was pretty cool. And we also used not DI guitars, which was a big thing. We recorded from the amp, which we haven't done before. And that gives a way more lively sound to it. It's way thinner, but like fresher almost. You know, it's like a good breath of fresh air. And I love how the old ones sound personally. Like, but I understand they kind of sound terrible. The old ones, you almost like could have just got us to play in a big room and put an iPhone on the floor and hit record, and it would have not been too different. Doesn't sound far off all the demos we had. So that's like one thing. And then also I wanted to sample on a lot of different songs and stuff. There's the woohoo sound in a lot of the songs that, like, on CSSW, like, we were playing that and it sounded pretty cool. And then I was listening and I was like, man, when you listen to this 10 or 15 times, it's just not hitting the same. So I said, okay, what do we do here? What would be funny? And it's the woohoo sound from when you win on a lottery ticket is thrown in there, looped over and over. And so that was a lot of fun. That's my favorite production moment on the album, I think. Or there's also a part on baseball, like the intro, where there's kind of this scream, and I can't even remember who it is. I think it's probably Rob. But I threw that in there like right before the everything kicks in, and I was like, that's cool too. Yeah, there was a lot of very cool like mixing and sound effects on this. I've been getting so into like the sampling, the sound effects, because I'm a huge Jane Remover fan. And on her last album, she samples like Fortnite, Pokemon, Sonic and Mario, Olympic Winter Games. Oh, that's like, crazy. So much stuff. And so I would just go through and like try and find all the samples. So I love when people do that stuff. I think it makes it so much more interesting. Yeah. Oh, wait, I actually have a deep cut. This is a crazy thing. I don't even think anyone in the band knows about this, but in a couple of the skits, this is a secret sample. A couple of the skits, there's a song in the background of like the convenience store, and that is a beat that I made, which uses, it's like from Pokemon Battle Revolution or something, like the oh my god, it's like the waterfall arena, and it's so awesome. And I was like, so that's some crazy lore for anyone who's interested. That's just what convenience stores play. Yeah, what do you mean? I was like, this would be something they would play in a convenience store, sure. Yeah. So speaking of the skits, if there's one thing I know about you guys, you love a bit. You love a bit. You play the shows dressed up as Simpsons, dressed up as
Was it Bob's Burgers or Family Guy?
Family Guy.
I always get those two mixed up. They're the same in my head.
That's next. Don't leak.
Oh no! I'm spoiling it. So like, what made the decision, or like, what made you decide to like include those little skits and like bits between each of the songs? They were so funny, by the way. My favorite one is the one where Michael Shallow goes, "Oh, I feel like I'm gonna throw up," and then Thomas is like, "He's so cool. I really want to be his friend."
I just thought it was kind of funny. I think that's like we all thought it was pretty funny.
And I think like, I don't know, in some way you want to make an album that's like more than just like a playlist of songs, and so it's a way to like kind of, you can say like this is it's a concept album, you know, like,
well, it does seem kind of like chronological, like when you listen to it in order, and like they each go into like each of the songs, like the one where it's like, what's a 6-letter word, and it's like casino, and then the next song is like casino. That was really cool. And I don't know, everyone has to listen to it in order then.
Yes. Well, I hope they do. That would be kind of funny if they didn't.
If you listen in reverse, it will freak you out.
Don't listen in reverse.
That like disembodied, like demonic voice on some of them was so funny. I was listening to it and I was like, is that supposed to be the ape? Like the cassette ape?
Oh, that's him. Yeah. That's definitely what it is. That's definitely what it is.
Stealing my idea. I better get a cut.
Of the $20 we make in the next show. You absolutely can. We'll send that.
That's the ape talking.
Yeah.
No, but I thought it was really cool. And they all seem like there's a lot of Newfoundland culture in this. Like the over-exaggerated accents, stuff like that.
I feel like a lot of those, they were all pretty well like written by kind of everyone had something to say about each of them. We tried to get everyone in, so like a lot of the voices that are pitched down are honestly just like whoever recorded it. Like the one about Michael Shallow, he was initially the guy talking to Thomas as well at the party, who was like, yeah, that's crazy, or whatever, who like was just kind of dry. And I was like, wait, this doesn't make any sense, man. Like, so I'll get in there, but I pitched my voice down I can't remember why. I think I just like thought it would be kind of funny to do that again. But yeah, those were, I think from the jump we kind of wanted to do that.
Yeah,
I know, like personally at the time I was listening to like a lot of like hip hop records from the 90s, and there was like a lot of skits on that, and I was like, oh, this would be like funny to do. Like no one has really done this in like Newfoundland that I know of, especially for like a rock album where it like doesn't really make that much sense. So I thought it'd be kind of funny to do. And then they also kind of try to string together some of the themes of the album, so it was like double-edged, no wait, that's the wrong way to use double-edged sword, but it would like I tried to do like both things with
has
those
like
skits.
A double meaning.
Double meaning, exactly.
I don't know. I thought I was gonna add something.
You mentioned like the 90s hip hop. Was there any other records that you guys listened to like when you were writing this album that like kind of come through as influences? Not to ask the classic music journalist like what are your influences like question.
When we were writing it, that's kind of,
or like
tough.
Just during the process.
I think the album that was listened to by all of us like collectively the most during this time was probably Manning Fireworks by MJ Linderman.
That was my album of the year.
It's so great.
I love it. It's
I don't know how much it really would have done for us, but at least I know that's something that we were all listening to a lot when it came out.
Yeah,
I love the like indie alt country.
Yeah, it's just so great.
I can kind of see it in a couple of the songs.
There's a couple songs there, like the last song on the record. That was one I wrote and I like listened to. Oh my gosh, Greg Freeman. And I was like, I want to rip off just like one of this guy's songs. And I don't know if it fully translated, but like there's something there that I can hear at least, like a little bit there. There was also just like production wise, there were 2 albums. One of them was called Crumble by Butter Glory, and it's like that 90s just like thin sound, like the bass is super high pitched and like the guitars are twangy and kind of spaced out, and it doesn't feel that full, but it feels like loose but full kind of. And I think there's a little bit of that on it. I think it still kind of ended up just like sounding like an improved version of the past couple things, but that was like kind of an idea going in there.
All the drumming I did on this album was completely attempting to rip the self-titled Always album.
Yeah,
I love them. I saw them in Toronto.
Oh,
in
did you really? Oh my God, they're
They're
so
fantastic.
great. Yeah, I wish they'd come back, but they're too.
They played
big
here.
They played at the Breezeway.
They played at the Breezeway.
Yeah,
in like 2017.
I know.
Or something.
I was
That's
so
so
young,
crazy.
I couldn't go.
Yeah, I wasn't cool enough to know about them yet.
I think I might have known, but maybe I just convinced myself I knew of them. I don't know. But yeah, the drumming on that album is so cool, and I definitely stole as much as I could physically do.
Careful, we might get a cease and desist from all.
I don't know.
Tried as I might, I couldn't do it. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh man.
Yeah, there was just like a lot of, I guess, different stuff, but mostly like alt rock, I guess, like and like
sure.
90s alt rock. I think there was a lot of, it tried to get influence from there and like make it sound like that a little bit. Yeah.
Is there any themes that like crop up a lot throughout the album as well? Like I know we said earlier, there's lots of being sad and drugs and drinking and all of that classic stuff that's in rock.
Yeah.
Gambling too.
Yeah. All the vices of like being a young person right now. I think that was like, that's kind of the big thing is like in Newfoundland amongst youth, it's brutal, among like young people, everyone is like a little bit depressed, and so they like go to different stuff and like drugs, alcohol, weed, gambling. All these different things are so like they're just, that's what it's like, really. Like you hang out with your friends every weekend and it's like, okay, let's drink, I guess, and play Mario Party or something. Or
that sounds like a fire evening.
Yeah. It is, right?
Yeah,
it is. It's so fun. And then you do it like 12 times in a row and you're like, well,
that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's not as much fun, but it still is. Like I don't mean to dog on like the fun of it entirely, but definitely you have moments of clarity when you do it so much that you like look at it, you're like, man, I don't feel like I'm making that much progress. And it's kind of like growing up here and like I love it here, but also I feel like the isolatedness of just being on an island and kind of the weather and like seasonal depression all lends itself to really vices and stuff like that.
Definitely. Yeah. I think that comes together really well because then you have the songs like the casino one and then the little interlude bit that's like buys the best beers, whatever's in the fridge. Hilarious, by the way. But then you have like Island Song and By June that are actually like really insightful and like kind of give a vibe of like, oh, where am I going in my life? And I've been in this place my whole life and like what is going on, what is happening, like I don't know what to do kind of thing. Yeah. So like the album's really fun, but it definitely doesn't sacrifice like the like emotional depth and like being vulnerable at times. And I think that's really like it takes a lot of talent to be able to like maintain the fun and the good vibes, but then also be like, hey, we have some like really important other like heavy stuff on the go.
Cool. Thank you so much. That's so kind to say. Also,
yeah, I think the skits were cool, but like they were very on the nose with it's just like beer and gambling stuff. But like I think it's good for like, especially where we're from. Like I think it's really gross how like the gambling and stuff is like promoted. Like you can't go anywhere without seeing like a million casino ads. And so I think like
on the slots at the station
exactly
pub.
And like and I'm not above it either, but I think I don't know, I think it is just gnarly, but I hope that like comes across as well rather than just like making a bit of a mockery about it. But it was done in a fun way for sure. Yeah.
Like I guess that's kind of it. It's like we were having fun with it, but we were also like, this is like what we do, right?
Yeah.
Like we just go out and drink and gamble a little bit, and it can turn so quickly because like the night of you're like, like down $50, but like I'm having fun or whatever, and then the next day you're like, damn, I'm down $50. Like what the hell am I doing? And then that adds up so quickly.
For sure.
I guess.
Is there any other Dogfish lore we should know about when listening to this album? I'm up on a little bit of it. I know the double bummer Michael Shallow is calling this summer, which is so funny.
Keep your ears peeled. We might be getting a couple of those out this summer.
Yeah, you should. I think it would be hilarious. I think someone was telling me a while ago at one of your guys' shows that he was gone for the summer.
He was gone for the summer.
One time, and then you guys started playing that. And it was the double bummer. Michael Shallow's gone for the summer. That he came in. He was like, "Guys, I'm back."
Yeah.
Well, did
which
you
is
know
hilarious.
That Shallow being gone was only one of the bummers. The other bummer was that Tyler was gone too.
No,
the West Coast.
I didn't know that.
That's some lore. That's some lore.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Tyler.
So, is it like the first and second verse? Like,
well, no, it's all double bummer. Well, actually, no, it was Michael Shallow's gone for the summer. Tyler's on the West Coast.
Yeah,
doesn't even rhyme.
No, it doesn't.
Man.
We didn't have much time to get that one out. You know, it was.
Oh yeah.
Well,
sounds like you're more sad about Michael being gone than Tyler.
Tyler left with like no notice. We knew Shallow was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's
that was
fair.
like for our first show that like we played outside of the basement. Or actually, we played
Memorous
a show
Maximus.
Yeah,
we played it with Memorous Maximus.
We played with oh my goodness, Dodo Head and Kendall's band.
Poor Forms.
Poor Forms.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Shallow was gone for the summer because he used to tree plant every year, and so we were going to just play without Shallow, and then Tyler had to go home on an emergency, and then we got our friend Grace to step in, which was very appreciated. She learned like all the songs in like 48 hours.
Oh wow.
She did awesome.
Yeah.
And then so I think. Because there was a couple songs we couldn't play already because Shallow was gone, and then there was even more that we were like, don't want to like to do this as well, like with Tyler gone. Mm-hmm. And so I think you like just showed up to one of the band practices, and you're like, this song is double bummer. And
I feel like I was just drumming, and then Grace I think actually was playing a bass line or something.
Right.
And it was just two notes.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, okay, let's do this. Mm-hmm. Michael Shallow's gone for the summer.
I think we played another one. That show that we never played again was Shark in the Park.
We never played that. We never played that song before.
Show?
We didn't learn that song.
No, we did, man.
Dude, we definitely didn't. I don't think we did.
I think we played Shark in the Park. I think we played
I don't think I've heard
instrumental
that
double
one.
bummer Shark in the Park.
A Shark in the Park is a deep cut because I don't think it ever went
He's gotta
anywhere.
become a jam band now. Just go instrumental, like double bummer Shark in the Park for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the whole set.
That's like
That's
how a
the
lot
whole
of the
set.
old jams would be.
Yeah. We have a recording. We can maybe if you want to tack it on at the end. Like it's just like the first time we all jammed. Or not all of us. It was like just me, Owen, Shallow, Tyler, and we were getting ready to go over to Owen's house, or what is now Owen's house, for like a like Smash tournament.
Smash House tournament.
Yeah, and we were jamming, and then we started playing what would be Love to Board, and it was completely different. It was like it was like a Beach Boys song, and then
No
like
way. Surf rock.
Yeah, and then the end was like it was like a 9-minute recording of like and, like no one plays a note on beat for like a minute and a half straight. But like we listened to the next day,
It's
we're
okay.
like,
It's fine. You're slacking around.
Yeah, exactly.
It's supposed to sound like that. It's supposed
really
to sound like
slacking that day.
Yeah.
I think there's a message because we sent that recording and like me and you probably listened to it the full way.
Yeah.
Shallow and Tyler, I don't know if they did, but I remember you sending a message that was like, wait, at 5 minutes we really kicked it into gear for a second. And it's like we actually did. It sounded good for a second. We were like, okay, we can make it work.
Exactly,
guys.
yeah. There was one small part that like is basically just it's 15 seconds that are just in the final song, but like we accidentally played it, and so yeah, if you just play notes long enough, you'll get a song.
Exactly.
That's
We
awesome.
wouldn't give in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Good
What's
advice,
other lore
for sure.
we can drop? Shark in the Park is pretty funny. Pat's Pond
Pat's
is a
Pond's
song.
good. Yeah, we used to play Balloons Tower Defense 6 like almost every night. It was me, Tyler, Owen, and Rob would play. And there was this one called Pat's Pond, and we could not crack it.
We could not beat
life
it.
Of us. I think Thomas played with us before. Did he?
He
too?
probably hopped in once or
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah, and it was called Pat's Pond, and then I think you wrote a very angry song about Pat's Pond. It's like
I love that. Instead of rage quitting the game, just writing like an angry song about it. You should send that to the people who made the game.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just
You
might.
should.
We just might.
That song was
Honestly, you
good.
should.
Ninja
Yeah.
Kiwi, they could use that.
Yeah. You still want to play that one? It might end up somewhere
Dude, that song
someday.
is good.
It's a fun one, dude. I feel like there was some lore that came up in my head that I can't remember, but it was really funny. Grace was in the band. Luke Kelly was in the band as well. He played with us one time at an open
From
mic.
Paper Tiger?
From Paper Tiger.
Oh,
He played
awesome.
one time. He
Yeah.
learned Love to Board in 2 minutes, and then like
He's a very good bass player.
He's a great bass player.
I took an SI with GarageBand on my iPhone, and I said it's these, and he was like, "I got it."
Hunt was in the band. That was kind of
Hunt played 2 shows with us. Slide guitar on both.
You're right. That was awesome.
He played Elk Lounge. He played the ship with us.
Oh my gosh, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, I guess it's a show that a lot of people that have been to like all our shows haven't been to is like the Elk Lounge with Owen's dad's band.
Yeah,
like those are some pretty crazy shows. I think we only did one, but
we only did one. We had to change some lyrics around.
Yeah,
Tyler came right from his like grad or something, and he was like, "I'm not gonna say we'll kill you guys. I just can't say it."
There's a drum kit. Yeah, we brought a whole drum kit and set it up just to learn. We didn't have to use it. Yeah, there's a lot of lore.
There was a good bit of lore. We all met playing Smash. That's a bit of Dogfish lore, kind of. We did. What else? I don't know.
Oh, the night that we first jammed together. I don't even know if you can call it jamming. Like, I didn't know how to play drums, and Tyler had never touched the bass.
Tyler was throwing up.
He was really sick. There was 3 DoorDash orders within 2 hours that night between all of us.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, we ordered McDonald's to the bathroom because Tyler was sick and we wanted some food.
And then Burger King, and
then Burger King again.
I think you ordered me like a chicken wrap. We were watching Superbad.
Yeah.
In the basement, and you ordered me a chicken wrap, and I walked home at like 4 a.m.
So 3 DoorDash orders
just
the
like
first
the
night.
song "Walking Home" on the new album.
Exactly
Exactly
like that.
I think the first Dogfish show that I like remember seeing, I'm sure I saw you guys before then, or at least like I knew that you were a band and like getting some traction like in the scene. Was last summer at the Rock House, where it was all dressed as like Family Guy characters, because I was so confused because I saw you and I was like, why is he in a onesie? And then the whole background at like the projector was just like Smash and like Melee and stuff.
Yeah, that show was really good.
It was a good show. And then there was like the mosh pit, and Matt was going around with the chicken
mask to fight Peter.
On. Yeah,
we had some plants in the crowd to really get things moving.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that show was pretty. That show was pretty special. We had like that was on the night or the first night of St. John's, just like the huge tournament that like Smash NL puts on every year, for the Smash Bros tournament. And so there was a bunch of people there from like our friends from New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. Yeah. And one of our buddies from Ontario, and so it was really cool to play a show that night. It was a bit of a stressful night. We didn't have like a sound guy at all until like the day before.
Oh no.
Yeah, but that show was super cool, and we got a Smash set up on the projector. Yeah,
that was a great.
Was
show.
it people actually playing?
Yeah, they were in the back. Yeah.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's really cool.
It was pretty fun.
Our only request was that no one plays any lame characters, but I think it was. Like Donkey Kong, Ganon on the setup for the whole night. I think more people would have showed up if it was like some real cool games, but
they weren't that cool.
Yeah. One thing I did want to ask you guys about, because we touched on it a little bit, but like the way that, because you guys don't just do this guy on bass, this guy on guitar, this guy on drums. It kind of changes for every song. I've called it like circuit instruments, like the kind of thing. So how do you decide like who plays what for each song?
Oh, I think it kind of just works itself out a lot of the time. Like there have been points where we started a song with someone on drums and then we switched it out. Like the one that really comes to mind is Swamp Body. You guys were jamming.
Oh, I love that song.
They were jamming in the house, and I had a riff that was like already written that I was just going to use for something else. And I came in and like it was like the scene in The Hangover where all the numbers come up like in front of him. It all made sense to me in that moment. And I was like, guys, wait, keep playing. Like, don't stop playing. And I played the riff. And Rob was drumming initially. But then I think we jammed it for a little bit, and then you were like, guys, I got to drum this one.
Yeah.
Let me drum it. And
yeah, I was pretty persistent about that.
It all worked out.
Yeah, I think there's like certain... I don't know, like sometimes it's just like you'll hear a song and like I feel like I kind of know who's gonna drum on it in a weird way. But there's also like there's like quick things that like didn't were just like truth for a while. Like me and Owen never played guitar together, I think, on any songs. And so I guess that...
Yeah, I think you're right.
We at least one of us... Usually one of us is on drums for the other person's, like, playing guitar. But I think for all shallow songs, you're on drums. For a lot of your songs, I'm on drums.
Yeah.
And for most of the other songs, you're on drums.
That's definitely, like, the sort of triangle that works itself out more than anything is, like, when you're playing guitar... No, wait. When I'm singing, you're drumming.
Yeah.
When Shallow's singing,
you're drumming.
I'm drumming.
And then when someone else is singing, usually you're drumming.
Yeah. And then I think that I really like that setup as well, like, because we kind of balance each other pretty well, I think. Like, where you come from a sort of funkier background, and it's like, it's not quite as, like, in your face aggressive, like, and that's where my drumming is sort of more than anything. It really works itself out in that way.
I think that shows through pretty well on the album too, because there's songs that are a bit more like loud in your face, but like in a good way, obviously. And then some that are like a bit more like reserved as well. Yeah, I really like By June. I think that's like might take over Swamp Body for my favorite Dogfish song. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yeah. But that's a really good one. Any Beatles reference there?
Yes.
That's some lore, I guess.
That is some lore. Yeah. So how did that even happen?
I think that the first time when we first played it, like, sometimes, I don't know if, like, I guess the vibes are right, we'll finish playing a song and then we'll just keep playing it for another 3 minutes, but like half as fast because I guess it's just fun. And then I think at some point someone was like, are these the same notes as Hey Jude? Which I don't even think they are, but it sounded close enough because I think Hey Jude is F and C. I don't know what is played on that. But then I think just in the jam, like, people just started singing Hey Jude, but I'm not sure if that's how it happened.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. Like, we just started doing the la 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 la.
Yeah, la, 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 la. Yeah. And then I think we did it for like a couple shows because it's...
Whenever we play that song, we do the sort of
the Hey Jude
outro.
Yeah.
But on the album, we were like, maybe not that much, but like that's where the
not
name...
Not for the last song. You can't like have all your glory like taken away by the Beatles, you know?
Yeah. I think I was like... I have a funny story about that song where my dad came and saw a show, and we did that, and then like the following week, I was kind of trying to troll him and like his like music buddy a little bit. I was like, yeah, the Beatles, like, they're overrated and they kind of suck. He was like, you were literally singing their song at your show, bro. And I was like, oh, you're right. You got me.
I think the naming for that song went back and forth, like, but we didn't want to keep it too on the nose, like Bye Jude, but
but it kind of works in a way. It's like Goodbye to June.
Yeah,
it's also about like someone coming out in June.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think of that one.
Could be goodbye to a person named June.
Exactly, right. Like, there's a lot
of
different things there. That goodbye to the album. That came out in June. Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, that's why we delayed it for 5 months.
Right. Yeah, because it was supposed to come out
first quarter.
Day.
Yeah, Valentine's Day. That was the original plan. We were going to call it like We Love You or something. And but it didn't work out. But I think it was worked out for the best.
Yeah,
I think so. I think so too. I think like if it had been out Valentine's Day, like it wouldn't be like what it is now.
Yeah,
you know?
Very much.
And I like the name Cassette Ape. It's fun.
Yeah.
Going with the animal theme, like you have dogs, fish, now you have apes. But no cats and no rats.
No cats and no rats, never, ever. That graphic, I just was like in graphic design class one day, and I was like, this is so awesome. And I was trying to do like ASCII art. Do you ever see that? It's like the art that people like put in like Twitch chat or something sometimes. And I was trying to do that, but I was like, this is like, I don't know how to do this. And I didn't realize there was just an algorithm you could run stuff through. so I was like trying really hard to do this, and it kind of worked out in a cool way that it made this design. I was like, oh, Cassette Ape is also like a funny thing because it looks like the cassette tape. And then I threw the Dogfish, like the weird mantra underneath where it says like, he just consumes and consumes and consumes. And then it kind of was like a self-fulfilling prophecy because the album is about like kind of overconsumption and stuff in a way. Yeah. And so it all kind of came together in a perfect storm. And that's where the cover came from, at least.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And the ape is maybe the disembodied voice in the I don't know. Maybe you could have a whole story here for like LP2. You could be like, the ape is like out to like eat the dogfish.
Yeah, we're changing our name.
Like Godzilla versus like
Dogfish versus Cassette Ape.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
That would rip.
That's kind of awesome.
I was gonna say Godzilla versus Donkey Kong, but that is not. No. The big monkey, whatever it's called. Where'd we get the Dogfish name? I'm curious.
It was
because it's so fun and silly. I love it.
It wasn't I think like we needed a name for the band, and
it was almost Shirts Versus.
Yeah, it was all Shirts Versus was like the front runner. I think it was like that was like what we were talking about. We're like, yeah, like we like this name, but like we never stuck with it. So I guess it was never like officially that. But then I honestly think it was like before the basement show. I think that we just needed a name, and I think you just like picked one, and you're like, does everyone like this name? We're like, yes.
I remember, because I was jamming with OFB one time, and I was like, guys, I'm gonna call a band Dogfish, and they were like, what? Okay, like they didn't really care. And then it kind of landed there, and I think it worked out perfectly. It's just like mashed together. I didn't even know if it was like a real fish or what, but it is a real fish.
It's a shark. Yeah.
It's a shark.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's
Didn't
cool.
even know. Didn't even know. And there's just like a bunch of. Yeah, it just kind of worked out, but it was never anything too crazy.
Yeah.
Just kind of a funny name.
It is pretty silly, but like I feel like that encompasses the band though.
Yeah,
like you guys love to be silly.
Exactly. Oh, very much.
Yeah.
Well, even like I think the greatest bit of Dogfish is that there's just too many people in the band. Like there's always someone who doesn't really like who is just off to the side or like
with
has a tambourine
or
something. Yeah. Which is pretty funny. That's still the funniest bit. And I never realized that it was until I was out with some friends and they were like, well, that's a bit, right? That like there's too many people in the band. And I was like, yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course, exactly, yeah.
We've turned the stage into a clown car.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny, like, after every song, then you guys are like, okay, where am I now? Where am I now? What instrument?
Yeah. That really limits our set list potential, because we don't want to be moving around between every song, so we usually be like, all right, like, Owen drum for 2 songs, and then we're like, what 2 songs can we do with someone else on drums?
Yeah, like, stack them like that. That's smart, yeah. So is there any, like, exciting plans coming up after the album's release? If you want to plug anything at all, now is the time.
I gotta say, first and foremost, shout out to Jacob Sherwick for mastering it. That was awesome of you. That also helped with sounding a lot better. And then in terms of announcements, like Michael Shallow's gone for the summer again. So we might play some shows, but we might not. Mm-hmm. And then by the time he gets back, Mike is moving to Ottawa.
Yeah.
So there's like kind of a hiatus coming.
So we are.
That's so sad. Right after the album release.
Yeah.
It kind of like snuck up on us. Whereas like the other night, like we me and Owen and Shallow and Grace, we played a show with Jack Ian's, and then the next day I like checked the calendar, and I was like, Shallow's leaving in like 12 days. And like, we don't have a show planned for the album. And so as far as plans for like shows go, there will be shows, because I won't let what our last show was be our last show. And so, but we talked about doing like a recording of just getting all of our silly songs recorded, and like maybe getting that out there at some point, but just having them down would be good. But yeah, that's really it as far as like plans go, I guess. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. We're just trying to plan a show for like the next 2 weeks now.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
It might be all ages.
Yeah.
Maybe, we'll see.
No, all ages is good.
All ages is good. I like all ages.
All
shows.
the like small league of like 16-year-old punks can come out.
Yeah. And also for like people who don't drink, it's like more of a comfortable environment, which is cool. But it's hard to find venues.
Any merch coming up? Or?
Well, you got the tee on right now.
I had to dress for the occasion.
Yeah,
of course.
The new Dogfish.
Oh my god, we need to play a show. We need to sell our
shirt. We didn't even post it on Instagram that we have shirts.
Okay.
We're brutal, man.
There will be a show.
You guys need like social media guy or something. Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, that shirt that you're wearing, the Dogfish X Paraka Bionicle shirt, which I like initially was just kind of like, holy F, like the Paraka from Bionicle are so awesome. Let's make a shirt with them and then just put Dogfish on it. But thinking about it now, Bionicle is all about like collect all of the same exact thing, overconsumption. Ooh. Bam.
Yeah.
Bam.
All ties together.
All ties together.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Are you gonna make some tapes? Because the album's called Cassette Ape.
I think so. We might.
I feel like you have to.
I feel like we kind of do have to.
We're not really good for our word.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff a lot of time. Yeah, we were supposed to be on tour and have a vinyl right now and play a album release show, but the plan is to have something physical, and cassettes seem like super cool, especially with the name of the album.
People like to collect.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of local bands are doing cassettes now. I think they're a bit more economical than vinyl.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely. Vinyl will be so cool, but it is so expensive.
Yeah. You know that? Have you seen Good Luck Charlie?
Yes.
There's that. Her dad has like an album, and like at one point, like I think his name is PJ. The kid finds it, and he's like, "Whoa, Dad! I didn't know you had a record." And Dad's like, "That's the only one we ever recorded." And then he drops it on the ground, and it gets lost.
Oh,
and so, like that has made me always want to have a vinyl of something, not so like my dumb kid can break it, but like because it seems like so like permanent. I feel like a cassette, I'll like probably step on it at some point in 20 years on accident. But like vinyls are a super cool medium.
Dude, oh my gosh, sorry. Just like episodes like that in shows where it's like we have one of this thing and we're gonna break it. Why do they keep doing that? Why do they do that?
They got the band back together after they recorded another one.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That can be you guys in like
years. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we get to do cassettes. We planned on it like previously, but I think like even like after we just released our second EP, like Shirts Versus, we were kind of like, it's gonna be an album soon.
Yeah.
Like even though this is like 2 years ago now, so I don't know. It seemed like we had a reason we had something else to look forward to and to commit to doing like a physical release. And so I think, but now it like couldn't make more sense. So I really hope we do it.
Yeah, sure. It would be exciting. I think that's all the time we have today. Yeah, but anyways, thank you guys so much for coming on Muse News.
Thank you for having us.
I'm your host, Lee Hurley, and stream Cassette Ape.
Yeah,
stream it June 1st.